What is going on, guys? Thanks for tuning back into the channel. On this episode of Dream Big Customs, I'm going to be showing off my Wheelhorse Charger 12. Now, I just picked up this tractor today on Marketplace for $75, and I have a little bit of story to tell you about that. So, at first, when I saw the listing, it was Friday, and I sent it to my mom to check it out, and, I thought it was a good deal. He said I wanted $75 for it, and he had specific pictures of the Honda 13 horsepower Honda in it, and he said needs engine, but I was just thinking, because he had so many pictures of the Honda, I was thinking maybe he just means like the engine doesn't run or it's locked up or something like that, and I could rebuild the engine, or it could be a simple carb clean or something like that, or need a new spark plug, because a lot of people think their engine's blown up and they just need a carb clean. So, anyways, I thought that was it, but he was messaging back and forth, and he said that his son needs to pull the engine, so at that moment I knew the engine didn't come with it. But for $75, I was like, that's still a good deal. Too good of a deal to pass up. And I offered him $50, $65, he wouldn't take it. He had to have $75, so I was like, I'm going to pay $75 for this because this seems like a good machine to have. And I've always wanted a Wheelhorse, an actual Wheelhorse. I had a 92 Wheelhorse rear engine rider. That was just to sell it. But I never really considered that a Wheelhorse because it says Wheelhorse by Toro, so it's really just a Toro branded as a Wheelhorse. So I never considered that a Wheelhorse. I've drove a C121, which is about the manual version of this tractor. It has an 8-speed, 4-speed, high and low, so it's 8-speed. Tried to buy that with a few attachments for $800. Ran good. Couldn't make a deal on it. He wanted too much for it, and I couldn't pay that money at that time. Still couldn't pay that money. So here we are now. I had built a few tractors. I've built, a few tractors after that, and still never got a Wheelhorse, and this was the opportunity to get one for pretty cheap. And yeah. And you may be thinking, the last thing I need is another project, and I know. But, when a good deal comes up, I can't pass it up. So, we'll move up to the front here, and when I loaded it on the trailer, I noticed a sticker or label, and it says Big Bill. So I'm not too sure if the guy who owned it was called Big Bill. That was not the guy I bought it off of, but maybe the guy who owned it, his dad or something, was named Big Bill, or it could have been the tractor was named Big Bill. Not too sure why they would have named it Bill, but you never know. But anyways, we're going to end up calling this tractor Big Bill probably. So that is what's going on with this. And obviously, as I said, it does not have an engine. And it is a hydro. Unfortunately, I wish it was the 8-speed, but it's not. So really, this is your speed kind of thing. You push it forward for drive. You pull it back right there. You can see someone marked it someone marked it a little bit with a Sharpie and paint because this plate is all rusted, so you can't really tell. So that is neutral right there. You can see the line, and then you pull it back just a little bit to reverse, and then go back to neutral, which there is no detent here. You just gotta aim it. You'll know when it stops, but that's neutral, and then you just push it forward to drive. So that's how it goes. The tractor does have a top speed of 7 miles per hour with the stock engine, and since it is a hydro, you can't really pulley swap it. Not that I would pulley swap this. I don't want to beat it up that bad, because I do have plans to do a resto mod, and we'll be going over that later. So back on here, this does have a functional parking brake. The parking brake actually does work on this tractor, and then you push this switch down. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. Alright, so you can see I got the fenders up there. You can push this button and the fenders lift up. The seat does not lift up. There's nothing under the seat, so you have to unbolt the seat here, which I'm going to be putting probably a pan seat on this, just because I feel like it kind of fits it a little bit. The opportunity to put one on. Also wanted to put a pan seat on the tractor for a while. So right now, if you look at the hydro, at the diagram, you can see this is in tow, which means you can push it or tow it with another tractor or something, if the engine were to break down, which, obviously doesn't have an engine, so it was in tow when I bought it. I just figured this out about 20 minutes ago, because I'm just now getting to look it over. But now this is in drive, which if you had an engine and you started it up and everything worked, you could drive it, but since it's in tow, if you had an engine and everything worked, it wouldn't move because the hydro pump, or I don't know the exact term, but the hydro won't work. So if we pop the hood, you're already seeing the front end. If we pop the hood here, the hood hinge, the hood latch does work. You can't move it. Well, you can, but you know it's down. It's latched down. So if you pull this hood up, you can see. First thing you notice is this engine plate. So you can see the welds on this are really good. So I'm thinking maybe the guy who did it might have known what he was doing, but then thinking again that he might not have known what he's doing, but he might have just been a professional welder. But the welds on here are really good. And this is diamond plate though, so that is not factory. It is diamond plate underneath. Doesn't match the tractor. It's been painted. The red on here is more of an International Harvester red and not a Wheel Horse red. Now the Wheel Horse red is faded on this, but the Wheel Horse red is more of a faded red than this red when they're both brand new next to each other. So that is not factory. And the headlights have been cut. The wiring on this tractor is not exactly the best. The wires themselves aren't too bad, but you can see this, like, hold on. You can see this, like, what is he doing here? This is a positive wire. So all it has to do is touch right here, and you got sparks flying. So I'm not too sure what he was doing there, but I hope he didn't actually drive the tractor like that, because that could have... I don't even know what to say about that. That's just stupid. But you can see the headlights wire has been chopped off. There's just two positive wires, and I guess they ground to the hood here because it's always all metal. This is the first tractor I have with an all metal hood. I've had Craftsman's in the past that I have one now that has a plastic grill. I'm planning on selling the Craftsman, by the way. I have a plastic grill and a steel top of the hood, but this is the first one I've had that is all steel grill and everything. This is all steel. There's barely any plastic on this, and the plastics are just like the knob and steering wheel, so very minimal plastics on this tractor, which is very cool because this tractor is, and this is probably why there's no plastic on it, is from either 68 or 69. They made this tractor from 68 to 72, and they changed the decals in 1970 from my research, and so these are either a 68 or 69 decal because it's got the wood grain in it. In 1970s, I'd say, in my opinion, they went to the more classic wheel horse scheme, the more known wheel horse scheme, which is the red with the black stripe. I'd say that is more the more known one. But anyways, it's either 68 or 69, so it is the early one. And again, they only made this tractor 4 years, so to be honest, I've never seen a Charger 12 in person. Although I probably have, I probably just didn't, wasn't looking for it like a Charger 12. But now that I own one, I will be looking for it. Oh, that's a Charger 12. I have one of those too. But I did drive a C121 before, which is the 8-speed version of that. Tried to buy it, offered me $800. Had a few attachments like a mower deck, a plow, a rototiller, and I think that was it. And a yard cart, which I didn't really need the yard cart, but he wasn't going to sell it without it. Offered him $800 for it. And, he didn't take it. He said he could get a lot more for it. And at that point, I was out. My uncle offered him $1,000 for it, I think. He didn't take that either. And he said he had a guy who could sell it for him. And I don't know how much he got for it. It probably was around worth $800 in my area, but he didn't want to sell it, he didn't want to take $800 for it, so I don't know how much he ended up getting for it, but who knows. But anyways, we come down here to the hood hinge. I was just about to close the hood, but then I remembered this by feeling it, and if you can see here, the holes are ovaled out there from the hood hinge, so I'm gonna take a welder, probably the Hobart, and weld the washers on there, and that should be good to go, and should be good. So if any of you guys are wheel horse experts or have one of these, please tell me if your holes are supposed to be round, or if they're supposed to be ovaled out like that, so it gives it kind of more of a tips a little bit farther like that, or comes back. So I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a circle, but not 100% sure. So if we come up front, take a little walk around here, you can see these rims have absolutely pretty much no white paint on them. All the tires have these valve stem caps. I have not seen if they're metal. They feel metal. I think they're metal caps, which is kind of nice, but hey, little details. So they don't have really any white paint on them. They're pretty rusted out. Or, not rusted out, but they're got a lot of service rust on them. Inside, they have some white paint. Now this tractor has been greased well. I know that because the steering works phenomenal. And the steering is very tight. This is probably a new tie rod end. So that's nice. So this tractor has been taken care of a little bit. So somebody cared about it in its life. It does have a pretty new belt on it. That's probably a Husky from Tractor Supply, I'd imagine, just based on the blue color. But you can see here it takes about one turn of the steering wheel to max out the turn on this, which is really nice, and the steering is very tight on it. So that is cool. I do have plans to paint this original wheel horse red. As far as right now, I did think about it for about 10 seconds about clear coating over this with like a matte clear coat. I've been waiting to restore a tractor since I was like 6 years old, and this is the tractor to do it on. All my other tractors have been, from the 80s or something like that. They don't have metal hoods, they have fiberglass hoods, and such as the Blue Wildebeest, the other tractor, the Bull, that is red. I don't think I actually have a video on that, but you probably see in the background, which I should make a video on that. But anyways, this is going to be the tractor to restore, hopefully. More of a resto mod, I'd say, because I want to put tri-rib tires up front. Those are kind of pricey, but I'm sure there's Chinese tires out there that are cheaper. And then on the back, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from this. Some guys absolutely love them, some absolutely hate them. They're like, why would you do that to a stock tractor? Or why would you do that to a garden tractor? It's just push more stress on the hydro. Which honestly, this hydro is so big, I don't think it's going to matter. So I want to put about probably an inch skinnier tires on the back. Right here. And they're going to be ag tires. And you may be saying, well, you've probably heard it, but you may be saying, why would you want to put skinnier tires on it? And the reason that is, as I said, I'm going to put duals on it. So I'm going to have to probably get a different rim for the skinnier tires, because this rim is right here with the edge of the tire. And I'm going to have to find one to match the bolt pattern there. So that is going to be a challenge. But that might actually be just a generic bolt pattern for a garden tractor. I'm not exactly sure right now. But the hubs do come off. I've seen that. Those might be stuck on there a bit, but I can use a puller and some heat and they'll probably come off. So I'm going to put dual ag tires on the back, about 7 inches wide. So a total of 14 inches all of rubber back there. Those will grip very well in mud or dirt, something like that, because those will grip very good. Along with the tri-ribs, those should steer very good. They handle those big duals up in the back. And this transmission is not locked, so when you're turning, only that wheel will spin, this wheel will not tear up the grass or anything. So that will be good for duals. If it was locked, we're gonna have probably some big challenges trying to steer it with that amount of meat at the back and grip, but it'll probably end up steering actually still really good. So that's pretty much my plan. And now the steering wheel, if you might be looking at it, is actually really good. The center cap is a bit mangled there. Most of them are. And this thing I just noticed now is the steering wheel has a little crack there, you can see. And the others do not, so that is not supposed to be like that. Which you can't move it, so it doesn't feel like the crack is actually on the other side, so it probably goes down about halfway and stops. Yeah, you can see right there, it stops right there, and then there's more down here, and it is not correct there. Which this is probably an actual metal piece that holds the steering wheel on. This is just for looks, the triangles. But regardless, the video is getting kind of long. So final thing I'm gonna talk about on this is the engine. Now I want you guys to tell me down in the comments. I think I already know what the answer is going to be, and it's probably the same thing that I want, is a 10 horsepower Yanmar diesel clone. Now, I'm thinking, it's going to be a resto mod. I get to put whatever engine I want in. I was looking at the 212 Predator. I've been wanting one of those for a while now. Ever since, people started, putting them in go-karts and stuff like that. Since Harbor Freight moved into my area. I've been wanting to try one. And I was thinking at first, this is the tractor I'm going to put it in, but then I was thinking, I got this big engine spot here, and an engine like that, only 6.5 horse, it's not going to have the torque or power that I want to pull. I want to be able to pull a 500-pound snowmobile out with this tractor, so I'm going to have to weight it down a bit, and I'm going to hopefully try to make some really cool weights for it, like suitcase weights up front, or, some cool wheel weights out back. But this hydro, I think, can definitely handle that. But that motor is not going to have the power I need. It'll have plenty of power to pull garden trailer around and stuff like that, but won't have the power to pull one of those out. And I was thinking, 18 horsepower Kohler Command V-twin, horizontal shaft. It would be perfect for this. You could put 2-into-1 or twin stacks on it, because I want to put a stack on this tractor. Because again, it's not a complete restoration, just a resto mod. Looks semi-stock, but you can tell it's not completely stock. It's just a workhorse. So I'm thinking 10 horsepower diesel clone. And you guys are probably gonna say, 420cc Predator, that'll work too. But by the time I get down to doing that, it's like $200 extra for the diesel. $650 for the diesel. As the diesel passes outside, but $650 for the diesel from China. Fearless Front has one. He's done some cool things with that, and seems like they're reliable. Never really heard anything bad about them, other than the instructions are hard to read, but that's kind of normal. So I'm thinking 10 horse diesel. That would be very cool. Other than the price is a bit expensive, but used Kohler Command on Facebook Marketplace is like $400. That's for a used engine. New, it's way over $1,000 for a new Kohler. I want to put a Kohler in this. I don't really care for Briggs that much. The real old Briggses are nice, but I don't really care for the 80s Briggs. I just don't feel like they're that high quality. People make a big deal about Briggses, but I just don't really care for them. I like Kohlers and Kawasaki's. I like those engines the best as far as lawnmowers go. They always seem to be reliable for me, and there's many mods out there for them. Not to say that Briggs doesn't have good motors, but I just really prefer Kohler engines, the older ones to be exact. But 10 horse diesel would be very cool. I'm just not exactly sure if I want to spend $600. So you guys, down in the comments, leave. Do you think it's worth the $600 for a diesel, or do you think spend about $400 and get a 18 horse Kohler Command? Now the thing with the diesel is it's only 10 horsepower, but it probably produces about the same amount of torque as the 18 horse Kohler, because diesels produce much more torque than a gas engine. Also, it'll probably last longer than the gas motor too, even though it's a Chinese clone, but diesels typically last a lot longer than gas engines. Now it's probably going to be harder to start in the cold with when I want to go pull a sled out, but I think it'll still be worth it. It'll roll cold probably. It'll be interesting. When you see it, you start it up, you'll know it's a diesel. It won't sound like a gas. It'll set this one apart from others, so leave it down in the comments down below. Should I diesel swap this, or should I put a gas engine in it? And it's got to be something semi-stock looking. It's got to be a lawnmower engine or something like that. It's not going to be like a street bike engine, because I'm not putting that in here. As I said, I want to keep this semi-stock. So I'm thinking 10 horse diesel. Let me know if you guys think it's worth the $600 for it. Don't really want to spend that, but I'm thinking it might be worth it in the long run to spend that. So that's pretty much all about this video. It's getting very long, about 20 minutes long. So that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy the video. So if you have any comments on wheel horses or just anything in general, leave them down in the comments. I always read your comment, and I always reply if I need to reply to it. So even if you have any questions, ask them down below. I'll probably be able to answer them for you on any mower in general. So thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So, and to follow this build, because there will be definitely more videos on this build. So thanks for watching.